Okay, so let's take a moment to talk about Jesus. Before you go, I swear this has something to do with politics. Okay, stay with me here. I've been getting a lot of "I'll pray for you" kind of messages, and that's pretty passive aggressive, honestly, because the implication is that conservatives are the religious ones, and let's face it, we're talking about Christianity here. And the liberals need to be prayed for because we're the poor, misguided souls. And no, I'm sorry. I just big no on that. So if anyone gets those kinds of messages too, or I've noticed some that actually are bots that are saying it now, just be aware. And I want to talk about the Good Samaritan. For those of you who have read the Bible, you may know what I'm talking about, but many of you I don't think really know this. So I want to read this story, and I'm hoping that you'll stay with me. Okay, so this is, and I do have a background in religious studies. I've written papers. I've taken courses on Christian theology in university, as well as comparative mythology and world religions. So I do have quite a bit of knowledge about the Bible. I've read it myself quite a few times, even though I do not identify as Christian. And again, mostly that's because of the dogma. I absolutely love Jesus. I don't like the church. But let's move on. So this is from Luke 10:25-37, the parable of the Good Samaritan. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he said, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" "What is written in the law?" he replied. "How do you read it?" He answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." "You have answered correctly," Jesus replied. "Do this, and you will live." But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" In reply, Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. 'Look after him,' he said, 'and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expenses that you may have.' Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers?" The expert in the law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." Jesus would help the Samaritan or the person who is in need of help. Jesus would not try to send them back to their country. Jesus would not treat them like garbage. Jesus would love them. Jesus would treat them like a neighbor. And the one that is going to have eternal life is the one who treats people like a neighbor. It's not just about believing in Jesus. It's about your actions. It's about who you are and what you do, the choices that you make, and frankly speaking, the way that you vote and why you vote that way. Just my 2 cents.